Welcome back to the Crypto is Key conversation. We're going to jump straight into it so I can make this as streamlined as possible. We're going to start with this one from John Deaton. So there's a big ups to this Wednesday, June 14th, 2023, going over the Hammond documents. They're going to dig in, as they say. He says, we know that Brett Redfern, former director of trading and markets, warned that the speech would cause, quote, market confusion or more speculation. So why give the speech? So he's talking about the Ethereum Free Pass speech by Bill Hinman, and we're going to cover a little bit more on Bill Hinman, just like we did in our previous video. So coming over here, I thought this was an interesting take from this gentleman here. I don't really follow, his content on TikTok, but Digital Asset Investor had posted this, said the truth winds its way to coming out one way or another. Can't wait to see those Hinman emails. So we're going to take a quick listen into this because I like to hear people's different perspectives of how they perceive, all the information that's out there. So let's take a quick listen into this.
My theory on why XRP received the lawsuit from the SEC. I think a lot of the heads of the SEC, prior and current, were seed investors in Ethereum, that they participated in the ICO of Ethereum. Therefore, they have a vested interest in seeing Ethereum succeed as the main blockchain. And the thing that you had kind of seen right now is what is one of the biggest holders of Ethereum across the entire world, a company called Consensus. Consensus owns MetaMask. Okay, so they're super centralized. And now we're in a scenario where we're no longer proof of work, but we're proof of stake, which means what? Whoever owns the most Ethereum and stakes the most Ethereum owns the most nodes, therefore has the most voting power. And who owns that? Consensus, the guys that created, co-created Ethereum. So it's a very centralized network. And who owns and co-invested in Consensus? JP Morgan or Chase Bank or a bunch of banks, I don't know, HSBC, I don't remember exactly which ones. So you're in a scenario right now where, dude, like banks are still, they got their hand in the game, they're playing their game. So I think it's a dirty play. That's my opinion, but I think
So long story short, I mean, a lot of what the gentleman is saying is things that we've been talking about on this channel, and obviously based on the evidence that we've been, unraveling and posting within the community. I mean, it's not like it's crazy to think the way that we think. I mean, we have the facts, we have the timeline, and we see how things are really starting to piece together. It's like when we were younger, we had those white papers with all the dots on it, right? And you had to go from first dot to second dot, and you kind of keep connecting them, right, until you see the bigger picture, right? That's kind of like what's been happening, and it's not a secret that what this gentleman is saying is a real thing, especially the whole proof of stake thing. Obviously, whoever has the most in regards of stake, right, staking Ethereum on the network has voting power, and he's right. Like, that's a real thing. I don't know if Consensus and Joe Lubin's holdings is public or something that is known. I haven't seen that personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a crap ton, especially when it comes to those disguised whales. Like, how much did they accumulate, during that Ethereum ICO? It's kind of crazy. Moving on here, this is from Cowboy Crypto. So remember, we brought this up in our video yesterday. This is William Hinman, or Bill Hinman here, who gave the Ethereum Free Pass speech in June 2018. And look, he's on this board here, and obviously you see a lot of sponsors here. You have Fidelity, Citadel, which ties into our timeline and how things are connected. He says Bill Hinman shows up to a conference on Friday, June 9th, 2023, where Citadel Securities and Fidelity are sponsoring. Paradigm and Sequoia Capital are Citadel's only two listed investors. Fred Ursam, founder at Coinbase, is founder at Paradigm. Heath Talbert, CFTC commissioner, met with Jay Clayton the day before the Ripple lawsuit, then went to Citadel, where he has been chief legal officer since. Heath left Citadel and joined Circle 2 days ago as chief legal head of corporate affairs. Fidelity investments include only a few crypto projects, one of them being Coinmetrics, which is made up of investors like BlockFi, Castle Island Ventures, Coinbase Ventures, Digital Currency Group, Goldman Sachs, and Warburg's series. Put my glasses on real quick. Says Fidelity is invested in Joe Lubin's Series X exchange, not to mention Airbnb, which was Simpson Thatcher deal. Fidelity also invested in Talos with A16Z and many others in May 2022. He says, can't wait for those emails. So just to touch on the emails, obviously that's something that we talked about in the beginning. We've been talking about it in the community for some time now. We're 3 days away from them actually being released. They could be released before that, but we're expecting them on June 13th. Obviously, you have John Deaton and the crew down here kind of coming together in a collab coming up on June 14th to really dive into the details of it. But there's been people speculating on, like, is there just a lot of hopium that's been coming out? Are we really like expecting so much, something astronomical to be coming out of these emails? And, what happens if nothing in these documents and drafts is significant enough and like we just pretty much get a flat tire? Quite honestly, I don't think things can get much worse than they are. Obviously, they can. I got to correct myself there. Obviously, things can. But I'm saying us as an XRP community, us being involved in Ripple, XRP itself, and just being involved in the community. I mean, we've been through trials and tribulations and been through the ebbs and flows of the market itself and literally just been scrutinized. So, like, really, we've taken so much of a beating. We have to be extremely resilient. And I'll speak for myself. I'm extremely resilient. Granted, a lot of newcomers, a lot of people that's been in the space that hasn't been under the microscope or under the heels of the incumbents in Wall Street and the SEC. So quite honestly, there's got to be something in there that's going to prove to be significant. We know the significance of the Ripple versus SEC case, and the market in general, the entire crypto space is finally starting to open their eyes and see that this is bigger than Ripple and XRP, and the XRP community wasn't wrong. It's going to be glorious when these things come out, and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, there he is. After all this time, all this exposure we've been giving him since the speech and, posting videos and putting it on Twitter, he finally surfaces. Interesting. This is from Mr. Huber here. It says, I tell you, him and emails will be bad for crypto. They will help Ripple, but they will show that the SEC's entire crypto policy, which was based on Hinman's speech, was illegitimate. Armstrong made this tweet after the Hinman interrogation, right after the judge ruled to turn the documents over for the first time. Then he comes over here and says Gensler knew then that he had to turn the documents over at some point. It would be bad for Ripple case, but they will give him the ammunition to go after players which were betting on the SEC's approach on the crypto of the former administration. So pretty much what I'm taking out of this is he's saying, these companies or these, these projects and these entities have been looking at, when Jay Clayton and William Hinman and how the speech was rolled out. And they were banking on, building on Ethereum and doing things a certain way. But it's like now that you have these docs coming out, excuse me, it may prove to see, as he says, it's not legit. And it isn't, I guess you could say, proper and lawful and just, right? So, in a sense, that will be completely, I guess you could say, discarded or erased in a sense. And then they formulate a new foundation and a new set of rules for the space, which could hurt, other companies. So I think that's kind of what he's saying. And then obviously we posted that video yesterday where the gentleman was talking about, what if Bitcoin and XRP are the only ones for the next 2 years that have, the free reins of being traded in the secondary market and continue to grow their business. And they have the regulatory clarity while the rest of the space has to undergo the fire and, a couple $100 million lawsuit they have to go through with time. It's going to be quite interesting to kind of see what happens. Tony has a good point here, and it kind of infuriates me. He goes, XRP corrupt regulator Gary Gensler and the SEC are suing Ripple over XRP in the U.S. Meanwhile, other countries are building on the XRPL. So that's the thing that's frustrating is you have the U.S. literally dragging their feet, right? And kind of scrutinizing XRP and XRPL and just the entire network in general on top of Ripple, the company itself. But then you have, the outside world of the United States building on it. So it's like they talk about these whole, what is the true value? And, you hear all these astronomical numbers that they've been throwing out and all these formulations that they've been stating. So they're talking about it. It's outside of just the market in regards of, what would XRP be valued today? So they're factoring in a lot of different things, regular market cycles. They're factoring in the growth of Ripple, the company, the use case of the XRPL. One of the big things that they talk about and why these XRP price evaluations are so high is because they were talking about how like there's these developers, they develop and they, use code and develop these platforms and expand these platforms and they earn money from it to, fund their lives. And with this lawsuit, they've pretty much ran away. Those that didn't stay, kind of ran away and went to other networks, whether it be Ethereum or whatever the case is, and continue to build on those, right? But the ones that wanted to build on, the XRP or the XRPL, pretty much that was stifled and hindered, and their ability to make income has dropped. So they were pretty much saying like, what if this lawsuit never dropped, right? And the regulatory clarity was there for XRP. a lot of devs and builders would have been in here. The network would have been, astronomical at this point, right? And obviously it's going to be there. But they're talking about that's why the price valuations are what they are. It's more than just the regular market cycles. It's like, no, the building, the network, how many projects will be built on the XRPL if this didn't happen? So it's just sickening, man. Because what could the XRPL and the network be like right now if we weren't being manipulated and stifled and hindered in its innovation and growth? It's crazy. Obviously, Chairman Gensler's losing his mind. Even more. It says U.S. doesn't need more digital currency because it has the dollar, says SEC's Gensler. Gensler comments follow landmark suits filed this week against crypto exchanges Binance and Coinbase. So coming down here, I highlighted a few things. It says we don't need more digital currency. We already have digital currency. It's called the U.S. dollar. Then he comes down here and says all we have to show is that one of them is a security. So pretty much saying, throwing out all these different things, right? All we have to prove is one of the digital assets that we are going after, in a sense, and while going after these exchanges and these platforms, we just have to prove one of them is, and then boom, we're good to go. And a point to make there is what I'm starting to see, and I think I've seen this in being said in the community as well, and I agree. It's they're not just going after, we're going after Ripple or we're going after XRP. Now it's like, okay, let's go after this platform. And then we're going to throw in, ADA and, I think what was the other one? Matic and, throwing in these digital assets. So it's not like they're attacking the digital asset in the I guess you could say that the team itself, they're just throwing it in as like a little fluff in a sense. So they're not really giving those digital assets in their community a voice in a sense, right? Because they're technically going after Coinbase, for instance. They're not going after ADA straight on. They're saying Coinbase sold unregistered securities, meaning ADA. So I thought that was quite interesting, and it looks like that's their tactic of, in a sense, trying to get something under litigation. Like, okay, well, see, we won against Coinbase because of this, and that, which then is going to negatively impact the digital asset, which then is going to trickle down into impacting the investors that they're so-called set out to protect. It's crazy. And then the fact that he goes, there's been clarity for years. We know that's just, he's full of crap with that, man. And it's just shameful. Quickly coming over here, digital asset investor, I put this up, it says, SEC sues Coinbase for listing what they call securities. Coinbase has a license to list securities, but the SEC won't let them activate it. Are you freaking kidding me? We are living in a twilight zone. So we'll hear Brian Armstrong saying himself here.
There's no dispute that you are not any of those things. Is that right? Or is there any dispute that you are acting as a broker-dealer, acting as a clearinghouse, and acting as an exchange?
No, we don't claim to be a broker-dealer or, we've acquired a broker-dealer license that's still dormant because they won't allow us to activate it. But
well, there you go. Right out of the horse's mouth. It's crazy that Chairman Gensler is operating the way he is. This is from Seth. It says, there's never a slow news week in crypto, but this week was truly extra. The SEC sued Binance and Coinbase. 10 states piled on Coinbase the same day. The SEC won on Trove freezing Binance U.S. assets, and 2 senators told the DOJ to investigate Binance for perjury. And there's just a lot more on top of already the negativity and the mainstream media manipulation and just all the foolery that we deal with within this community. It just continuing to pile on itself. And quite honestly, those of us that's been in the space, obviously, we're seeing new elements and new factors being thrown into the space. But like when it comes to the overwhelming consensus of the ebbs and flows of this space, the crypto space in general, it's like this is nothing new to us. So for those of you, if you're new out there and you're listening, to me for the first time, or you're new to crypto, just know that, hey, this is part of kind of like what we go through. It's kind of like the growing pains, as they say. And if you're really being diligent about, researching the projects that you're getting into, making sure they have a solid team, a solid use case, as they say, roadmap, true utility, and they have been around and established themselves through multiple bear markets, ideally, then you should be solid. And, you got to just do your best to stick to your investing and trading strategy and follow those that you find value in and that you feel like you have some trust with, and stay true to yourself throughout it all and do what's best for you and your family. And you should be solid. I really believe that. There's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of positive in this space as well. This from James Roll XRP says, SC Chair Gary Gensler wants you to think Coinbase and Binance are the same as FTX and Celsius. They are not, which we know that. And this is coming over here to this craziness. FTX 2.0 launching soon. Court filings show a reboot plan in the works. And then the bearable bull hits it on the head right here. Ripple gets sued. Binance getting sued. Coinbase getting sued. Everything gets called an illegal security, but FTX gets to relaunch at the end of the year. What the F type of BS is this? If this really is a thing, I mean, you talk about, I think we just talked about digital asset investor says we're in we're living in the twilight zone. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to leave it at that. That would be crazy. But anyways, quickly coming over here to CoinGecko, we're sitting at a $1.1 trillion market cap. Let me refresh it really quick before we go. $1.1 trillion market cap. Bitcoin sitting at 26,000, Ethereum sitting at 1764, XRP sitting at 52 cents. Man, that's pretty good coming back from that dip we had 2 days ago. Let me see. Let me see the 7-day. Yeah, I mean, look at that nice dip down to 48 cents. We were at 54, dropped down to 48. Now we're right back up to 52, man. We're seeing a lot of strength, man. A lot of people are getting excited here about Ripple and XRP. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index sitting at a 47. We got to stay the course, people. But that's all I have for you. Make sure you go to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Crypto's Key 1. I really appreciate your support out there. With all that being said, stay strong out there and be safe.